All right, everybody, how are you doing? Let me see. I'm not sure who all's in here yet. I've been messing around. Let's check things out here.
I think it's only Tash so
I
far.
think Tasha's the only one. I got three, so that'd be me, you, and her. Yep.
Yep.
How you doing, Tasha? Good to see you. I think I popped in for about 5 minutes on your stream last night. I was pretty tired. My son got home from work, and I said, I'm tired. I'm going to bed with you. So we both
Yeah.
went to bed at the same time.
Yep. And Michael just dropped in.
Michael, good to see you.
It was an
How are
interesting
you?
chat with Squid Load and also Backwoods and Prepping. Great guys. Please check out their channels.
We're getting some nice folks coming in that are new to the community, and that's
Right.
always good to check them out when they first get here.
Late night, we got a lot of women.
A lot of women. Well, maybe
Yeah.
they like to stay up at night.
True. Let's see.
They
Oh,
like to unwind after they get their kids in bed and whatnot.
right. Like I said, folks, we got still two, but we're today's topic is bartering. Remember, bartering is supply and demand. And Will has a whole list, and he'll be reading it off in a few minutes when we get more people. But the big problem with supply and demand, you have to be careful when you barter. You don't want to be, I barter. What happened to Will? They conked him over the head and took all his barter stuff. You don't want that to happen, right, Will?
All right, you gotta be kind of like I don't want to say that word. You have to be kind of tightwad.
You have to be sharp. That's the correct word. Tightwad's a little different, but
I was going to use that J word, but
no, no, no.
that's not politically correct.
Right. We can't use that word. But like I said, folks, when you're bartering, best thing I tell a lot of people, go to flea markets and learn how to haggle.
Hey, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Hey, yeah,
Thing is there's different ways of bartering too. You can barter, just like a small issue. Excuse me, a small issue happens in your area, and things can't really be taken care of. Like Uncle House is, it's the supply and demand thing. So what you want to do is you might want to just have some smaller things to barter, things like babysitting or something like that,
right,
because the community doesn't have all that available. Hey, maybe you had a flood or something like that. So
right,
you may want to barter off things like a babysitter daycare type of deal.
right. Because right now the big shortage is a lot of service jobs. Because me and Will were discussing off screen on service jobs, a lot of people are not filling in. So there's like vacancy, and some places will pay you good money bartering for your services to fill in those spots until they get a permanent worker. I've
Yeah,
been
your
off,
neighbor might be a mechanic or something, and you can't. Nothing in your area has that to deal with it. Maybe, like I said, a flood or something where your whole town's kind of out of commission. And
right,
but Joe Blow, he's good with the wrenches.
right. If
So
Joe Blow, like Will says, is a mechanic and you have car trouble, instead of driving all the way across town, okay, you could barter with Joe Blow. Hey, Joe, I got this bunch of corn just picked out of my garden. Can you fix a few things on my car? And Joe Blow's starving because no work. That corn looks mighty good, and trade you the corn for fixing your truck. Right?
have you guys ever done that with your neighbors? I used to do it all the time when I was younger. I'd trade things to get done instead of going out and paying them the big bucks.
Right. And it does help too, especially if you're on a budget.
Yes, it's like I was saying, if you're flooded out or something, you may want to call the plumber. your plumber down the block. I mean, not just the plumber out of a house, and have them come over and clear out your lines in your house so that you get back to normal.
Right. And we got about 5 people. Do you want to start, Will, or
You
wait?
want to? I'm not too good on the gold and silver. Can I get you to explain to everybody about how you collect that?
Okay, folks, on gold and silver, you have to be careful because there's a lot of Chinese counterfeits. Make sure you have scales and weights and you can tell the difference. Because a lot of people, I keep telling them, this isn't silver, it's a fake round. Because they'll buy it like, I spent $200 on this silver. It's not silver. It's when I weigh it and check for the density and examine it, I said, this isn't silver. It's probably zinc. So when you buy coins, make sure it's certified. Don't go. A lot of people do this. I know the ungrateful peasant does it, but he's skilled. He's been doing it since he was little, buying old American coins for silver. Back then, it was still cheap. Now it's kind of expensive and dubious because there's a lot of counterfeits. You have to be careful on counterfeit coins. And you have to have the scales and certification. If somebody comes up to you and say, hi, I'd like to trade some silver, and you're looking at them, doubtfully. Gold, the same process. You have to be careful with gold because gold's the first thing the government will confiscate. They will give you a gold certificate, which is a piece of paper, and then here you go. Here's your
I'm
gold.
not really up on it, but I know that some of these coin houses will do the same thing to you.
Right.
If you're not up on how to tell the difference between the real round and the fake round, they will get over on you every time.
Right. A good coin house is Alaskan Preppers Dealer. That's a good certified coin house. You do not want to watch some guy on TV. Yes, today we have these bleh. Can't say the word. Brain fart. Sorry, folks. What's the word?
Kimura.
Memorial kind of coins. You get a set like Star Wars or George Washington or Navy jets or something
The
like that.
famous one is the Walking Liberty.
Right. That commercial. And I tell everybody, you have to be careful on companies that do this. It could be silver on the outside and zinc in the middle. So it's not legal tender. It has to be certified legal. So if I sell this bar of silver, they can either use it for jewelry or for cash. If it's not certified, you bought zinc, zinc gold coins, but it has R2D2 on it. Ain't worth nothing.
Yeah.
See?
If they're not giving you paperwork with it, it's worthless.
Right. And a lot of people who are not skilled, like Wayne of the Ungrateful Peasant, he's skilled at it. He has the scales. He knows the difference between junker coins and real coinage. Same thing goes with the bars. I tell a lot of people, if you get the big bars, they're usually certified, but they weigh a ton. So you have like 400 bars in your safe. That's like, it's heavy. Okay. And plus the weight of the safe. So you got to think about it. Another live stream where Will was on, we were talking about gold or silver wedding rings. Remember, those are easy to trade. And if you have to bribe a guard at the border, here you go. Here's my wedding band. And you smile and you hand it to him and you go across the border. And I'm like, okay, let me open the box. And here's another wedding band. Put it on.
Yep.
If you watch Zombieland 1, I think they did that as a scam too. I find a diamond ring. Now, another thing with gold and silver, you could carry gold and silver into this size coin pouch. Now,
we have some of those, Aiden.
Yeah. We have the version of the Royal Mint over in the U.S. too, but it's under another name. It's like
it's shit.
You said it before, Will.
Yeah, that's why I said
We're having brain issues today because of the solar flare.
something mint company,
Yeah, it's not Royal Mint. It's Mint something.
U.S. Mint.
Right. Now, you want to get gold coins about this size. This is dime size. Okay. These are easy to barter. Okay. This weighs a fourth of an ounce, these coinage, and you could trade it. You don't want to trade your big 1 ounce coins. I don't think you want to be there with a hammer and chisel. How much was it? And chop pieces of eight
Yeah,
pieces of gold. A lot of people freak out. So what you do is if you have gold size of a dime, that's $75 right now, I think. I can't remember on gold scale for dime size or 100 or 250. I can't remember. But this is easy to trade. And you could put a small fortune in a coin purse. And if you paint the things in a copper color, like a penny, nobody notice it's gold. And then wash it off in varnish. And here you go, gold coin. And then if the guards look at it, oh, I got a bunch of gold coins and stuff. If you disguise them and look like this, they're not going to take it. They're border guards. They want big bills. They want 100. You know, if you have a wad of money about this size, they will take it. But no, I've never heard border guards, let's get the nickels and dimes and pennies. Nope. Am I right, Will?
yep.
Will, what's next on the list?
If you're gonna say we have a total shtf blowout, gold, we went through the gold and silver, but you could also worry about the water. So you want to make sure you have plenty of water filters to put into your barter system. And you want to make sure. Here's what I would do in a full blown SHTF thing is you don't want to trade all that stuff off right away. I mean, everybody and their dog is going to be trying to get rid of their filters or their water. I mean, they're just going to just give it out and they're going to try to do the best they can. But if you can sit back and just watch it going and wait for down the road, say 6 months or whatever, you can give out smaller samples of it. You'd actually be making a king's ransom on it because instead of giving them out a whole gallon, you could give them like a quart or something like that. Yeah, very little bit, and give it to them
Right, folks.
and tell them
And
that would have to hold them over until next week. I mean that's called what Uncle Al is calling the supply and demand thing. All
right,
the
you don't
people at
want
the
to
beginning are going
overdo
to
it
be
on
giving it all away at one time. But
right.
if
You
you're
don't want to
smart,
flood the
you'll
market.
hold on to yours. And
Right.
then as the market goes down, then you've got all this water and you can actually get rid of just a cup of it for a lot of work or whatever you want to barter with.
Right. And also don't tell people that you have clean, fresh water because that's going to be a high demand because they don't want to go, oh, I got to take all this green and chunky brown water and put it through the filter and I get less than this. And Uncle Al's selling a quart of water for how much money?
And it's already done.
Yep. But don't tell everybody that you have tons of water or you have a well because
don't tell anybody how what you got.
right, because they'll tend to shoot you, take the well. If everybody watched Mad Max 2, where's the gas?
Yeah, because we keep telling you, you can have all the water in the world or all the gold and silver in the world, but if you're letting all that get outside your grasp, then there's going to be, no matter where you go, no matter who you're with, there's going to be a bad person that's going to want to come and take it from you.
Right, like in the Mad Max movie, Lord Humongous.
Yep,
We need the gas.
Keep it close to you, Oh, right. I have a little bit that I can get rid of.
Right. So that goes for what's next on the list? Well,
Alcohol, cerveza.
right. Also, I warn people do not store beer because already they're having beer shortage, and people think I'll store a bunch of beer in my garage. If the garage gets hot, what do you think is going to happen to this? Right,
It's gonna
Tyler.
blow up.
Right, remember Tyler? He did a video not too long ago explaining the storage of alcohol carbonated beverages, and he told people do not store these in hot garages because beer will explode. He showed cans that the tops rip off because they didn't keep it at a certain
Oh yeah,
temperature.
they'll go like that from getting heated
Right.
up. They'll start going up towards the top in a
Boom.
oval.
Yep.
And then when it gets like 110 or whatever, that pop top that's in the top of it just pops, and you got beer everywhere.
Right. Because he works at a store that sells alcohol and smokables and stuff like that. And their big problem is making sure the cooler stays cool. Beer does not like it over 70 degrees.
And if you know how to make beer, that would be even a better bartering tool there, because you could take the recipe and actually trade that recipe off to somebody,
That's
and
better
then they
than
would be able to make their
true.
own beer over and over and over again.
And let's say hello to Carolina Hillbilly 1961. Dropped in.
Oh, hey, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while.
Like I said, folks, is that
Thank
me or
you for liking it and
yeah?
sharing it. Yeah, so if you see what we're talking about here, the next thing on the list is cigs or coffee, and those are the same thing. Cigarettes, I don't smoke them, but I have a box of them for just bartering. But I don't let anybody know I have them, because even in this day and age, people run out of cigarettes, and first thing they do is they go, "Who can I hit up for a cigarette?" You know?
Right. It's very. These are addictive properties of tobacco and coffee because I read wartime accounts of people, and it's like when unfortunately, cop the opposite sex will trade for. And I humped like so many people to get a pound of coffee. That was in the Civil War in the South. And we
Yeah,
know I'm trying to keep it clean so you don't get tagged, Will, but they offered favors for coffee and tobacco. I mean
yep,
tobacco. And but you have to dole it out like before, like we say, in small amounts. You don't want to say, what do you mean you got 40 tons of coffee? Next thing it's like Mad Max and Lord of the Moon. Where's the coffee?
take a quick break here. If you guys don't know the Carolina Hillbilly, I want you guys to go over there and check out his channel for me. He's a good supporter of mine, and I would like for you guys to get hooked up with him. So get over there and check him out. He has some good live streams over there. So make sure you get over there and check him out, and make sure you make him welcome here in the chat this morning. Thank you. Okay, let's try MREs.
That's
That is a very distant one there. I mean, nobody's really going to want to get rid of what they have. Uh,
right.
you you might want to try to get rid of some of the ones that you don't like, but that's a tough one to sell.
Right. The trouble
For
with
the simple,
MRE,
go ahead.
what we'll say it's hard to get rid of for two reasons. If you're ex-military persons, you don't want to eat those anymore. So you have to give it to some civilian have no idea. Here's lima and eggs. MRE, it's good for you. If you show that to any military man, like, get off my property now. Because MREs is a good trade before a disaster. After disaster, they have to be really starving. I'll trade you my dog, my wife, for several MREs. That's
Yeah,
desperation.
that's where I was going. Yeah.
Yeah. what we'll say, you have to be desperate to take one of those, because if you're ex-military, like Dave and me, and Will, uh, of Southern Ohio prepping, no way in hell they're going to trade you for anything for MREs.
MREs, unless you can get one of those MREs from across the pond. Those ones across the pond are pretty good ones, but the ones here in the United States, they're not always that well put together.
Right. Overseas, sometimes they'll put, like France, before they discontinue it, they had a little bottle of brandy or wine in their
Yeah,
meals. Or like England, they used to have little packs of cigarettes, 4 little cigarettes, but they banned it because it's not healthy. And you would see a lot of Brits like, "Where's my tobacco?"
yeah, but that's another thing. If you could get, excuse me, if you could get Kaylin Strain, you guys know her. If you could get with her, she could tell you the bad ones that is not very uh, worthy of having on your uh, shtf list. Maybe you could buy some of those and make those barter items.
Right. And you don't have to sell the whole MRE at one time in bartering. You could open it up and strip it down. Like, here's an accessory pack. I'll take those 4 bell peppers, and here's the accessory pack. It has toilet paper. And during the emergency, when nobody has toilet paper, remember last year, Will?
Yeah,
I'll give you my wife for a roll of Charmin. Here you go. And you can keep your wife. You
something
know.
like that right there.
Yep.
I would trade you 10 cases of MREs for 1 case of cigarettes.
Right. 1 carton of cigarettes,
And
not a
1
case.
carton.
Like I said, folks, you got to understand supply and demand. If there's a big demand for it, not a problem. Like right now, why are we having inflation? Because we don't have supply, because a lot of people do not want to work and just sit around. So our supply chain is low, but the demand is high. So I tell everybody, go get a job.
I've got, hey, let's go. I've got a lot of stuff here we can talk about.
Yeah.
How
What's
about,
next on the list?
let's go with an easy one. Toilet paper.
TP.
TP.
Remember last year, everybody? It's like all my nephews and grandnephews. Wait, Uncle Alan has a big supply of toilet paper. Yeah, but you're not getting it unless you do some garden. I wish I didn't say that last year. Garden work for me. Oh yeah, Uncle Alan, we know what to do. Where's my rose bushes? Oh, we got rid of top of them so they look nice and low. And those rose bushes are $100 to $200 a piece. And I have idiots that went to Harvard, my nephews, with a power trimmer going, "Nyeh. Can we have some toilet paper, Uncle Al?" Yes, because I love you. And second, never do that to my rose bushes again.
Here's a good one from Tasha.
Yeah, tobacco and papers and a cigarette roller. Yeah, but I'm tired. I don't want to do the zigzags. Not that kind of zigzags, but regular hand rolled tobacco. I'm getting too old. I don't like them when I lick it down and have a whole.
Sticks to your tongue.
No, the tobacco does. I'm too old. I don't have that many teeth.
There you go.
But like I said, folks, on toilet paper, it's a big commodity. It's easy to store. Do not do like Hubble's cat. I'll store it in boxes. Did you see that video?
I have seen both of them.
That was so funny. It went bad. Yeah, because you didn't date it and record it in a book. And then in the box with all the toilet paper, it's now Mouse Hotel. And you see dead mice and shredded.
All that dead feces laying around.
Right. It was a disaster. Folks, if you do bulk toilet paper, make sure it's in a rat-proof container, not a cardboard box.
They made a mouse motel out of theirs.
Right. And I seen another video where somebody, again, do not put toilet paper in a paper box. I keep telling people, and they're like, why not? Roaches. You do not want to get a
The
toilet
Roach
paper.
Motel.
Yep. And they do a couple of sheets and like, oh, there's a dead roach looking at me. You seen that video where the guy shake the toilet paper roll and there's like 4 or 5 roaches falling out of it?
I didn't see that one.
That it wasn't Hubble's cat, it was another prepper. And he says, I'm never going to store toilet paper in boxes again. He went to toilet tabs and put it in glass sealed jars. That's another thing you could get, folks, instead of toilet paper is the toilet tabs. They're still real cheap. You can buy a whole bag full, like 1,000 for $11. That's cheap. All you have to do not use those dry. I keep telling people because Will knows what I'm talking about. So how do I use this toilet tabs? Do I wipe my butt with it? No, you soak it in water first, folks, so it can expand. We've seen that on other chats, right, Will?
Yeah. How about somebody out in the side chat? Pop one up, a good barter item.
Right. While they're doing that, what's next on the list?
I got fuel.
Okay, folks, on fuel, you have to be careful. Do not store it in Walmart bags. Remember 2 weeks ago?
That's why I put it in there so I could have you tell the story.
Right, because Will saw this lady smoking a cigarette on YouTube and filling a plastic tote with gasoline. And then minutes later, the gas station's on fire, the tote's on fire, her SUV's on fire. Remember that, Will?
Yep.
Okay, first, never smoke when you're loading gas or diesel or any of that. 2, do not put them in other containers that not approved for use of gasoline. Walmart bags, soda pop bottles, milk jugs. That cracked me up.
We all do crazy stuff when we're younger.
Right.
When I was, I don't know, I think I was in my 20s when it happened, but I took and I started loading a bunch of gasoline in some $1 in 1 gallon milk jugs and just putting them up at the back end of my pickup. And I was thinking that I was going to be smart, And I was taking them out to the lake so we could put gas in the boat. By the time I got out to the lake, I had no gas.
Right, because it eats through the milk jug's plastic.
Eats through the plastic on the milk jug, yep.
Yeah, so Michael says disposable lighters.
Disposable lighters, yeah.
Right. Let's see if I have one in my drawer. Like these. These are great for barter.
Aiden says they get, what is that, lira? 1,000 lira?
Fine? No, that's euro.
Euro?
Yeah, 1,000 euro fine if you got caught smoking near a petrol station. A lot of people or lighting one of these.
They need to do that here.
Yeah. Because people are stupid and they'll do stupid things. But like Will says, do not put it in milk jars, Walmart bags. And if you do store fuel for a long time, do like Uncle Alan does. I have 5-gallon military grade fuel cans that I put fuel stabilizer in it. Because me and Privateer and another person were talking about it. I think it was Matt. There's too many Matts. I can't remember. Matt was talking about fuel stabilizer for diesel and gasoline. And you make sure you have it in a notebook. I always tell people this, but they never listen. In a notebook, what date did you put in the fuel stabilizer? Because the fuel stabilizer only works for a certain period of time. Then it degrades, right, Will?
Yeah.
And then after it degrades, you have useless fuel because you can't use it in your car or tractor because it destabilized. Okay, it went bad. So I tell people, if you have bad gas, do not burn it in the car. It's too much trouble because it'll wreck your engine. But on fuel, you have about a 6 month to a year window if you use fuel stabilizer and understand what you're doing it. So you got to be, it's pound sterling. Sorry about that, Anna dear. That was euro. Nope, that's pounds. Can't see too well.
That's what it was.
Yeah, pounds sterling. That's, if I'm right, 3 times the
That's
amount of.
still a lot.
Yeah.
Michael come up with disposable lighters.
Right. And hi, Irene of Iron bleh. Iron Fire Horse.
Iron Fire Horse.
Yep.
Hey Irene, how you doing? Yeah, the lighters are another good one though. I mean, those are the ones that you can actually put away and use them again later. I don't know how many times you guys have done it, but even when one dies, if you sit there and shake it up and throw it in a drawer or something, or that's what I can do. I shake them up even though they're dead, and then I throw them in a drawer. About 2 months later, you can go back and that lighter will work again. So even if it doesn't work again, you can still light it and use the flint top of it to make a fire with.
Right. Like I said, folks, it's supply and demand. You have to have a demand. If everybody's stored disposable lighters, there's not going to be a big demand. But
Well,
if you,
the butane in the lighters
true,
will uh, dehydrate, I believe it is,
deteriorate.
deteriorate. Yeah, it dries up and it goes poof anyway.
Yeah.
But it will leave enough in there, the pressure, enough pressure in it to get a few lights off of it.
Right. The trouble with butane is it doesn't dehydrate. It whatchamacallit?
Vaporizes.
Vaporize it. It disintegrates. Butane only has a shelf life of 1 year. After that, it's 50-50 odd. You might have still some fuel in it, might be still pressurized. It might be whatchamacallit. Oh, that's what Anadia says. It's $1,420.
That's a lot of cashola.
Yeah, smoking at the pumps. No.
I bet that broke them real easy to stop doing that.
Right. But like I said, folks, you have to be careful. Yeah, batteries are good too, and Michael.
Yep, those are on my list, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Batteries will last a long time. They will lose their energy after a while, but they last a long time before they do lose the energy.
Right, but it has to be stored properly. Do not put them in the freezer. That's an old wives' tale. Do not put them in the fridge. Again, another old wives' tale. You want to keep them in a room between 68 to 70 degrees. If it's cool, it's fine. Not cold. Cool, cool. Not like refrigerator cool, room cool. Because you have off gassing from the batteries. You know that weird smell when you open up a new pack of batteries? Will? Yeah, you get that weird whiff of chemical sometimes. Or you find that white, the white crust off of the batteries. That's off gassing. If you have an old battery, you'll have white crust on either ends. That means the stuff inside is deteriorating at a point. You still here, or your camera went?
I'm here.
It deteriorates to the point where you can't use the batteries. So be careful with batteries. And Michael says over-the-counter medicine. Yes and no.
Over-the-counter medicine is a yes or a no.
Right. Because Will had it on his list.
It is on the international list I have over here.
Right. Like regular stuff, you have to be careful because over-the-counter medication, you cannot really stockpile it because it has a deterioration rate faster than anything else. It might go bad in a year or two. So if you have 500 little bottles of aspirin, they went bad last month. And nobody's going to trade you if the medication smells funny. This smells like rotten apples. That's the bad thing about medication and over-the-counter stuff. They have a limit where you could store it safely.
It depends on where you store it.
True. The longest you could do is year or 2 years in a cool, dry place. Not freezing. Don't put it in a freezer again. Do not
And
put
keep it separate from other medical kits.
right. Another one that Michael pulled up is bar soap.
Oh, that's on my list too. Good job.
Right.
Bar soap or cleaners, which is stuff like you clean your counters and stuff with that has soap in it.
Right. Iron Horse, Irene says some things become less potent. Others will get more potent as they expire. Like they tested JFK's drug bag. Half of them lost the strength, the other half went deadly. And the doctor's like, whoops, I think we killed the president after
And
he
she's
got
right,
shot.
old vitamins will kill you.
Oh, yeah. You have to be really careful, folks, when you do things like this. You have to make sure you have a notebook and log down everything you have. Because a
Make
lot
sure
of
you
people,
read those expiration dates that are on there and write them down and then go back and check the vitamin bottle or whatever that you have and go against them because you don't want to end up going out there and accidentally killing yourself.
right. Now, bar soap and toilet paper, TP, they don't have an expiration date, right, Will?
Yeah.
So you could keep bar of soap for almost ever, and so is toilet paper, unless you do like Hubble's cat, Mouse Hotel. And then you open the box, there's a lot of mice in here. Where's the toilet paper? It's all chewed up. Remember when you opened it, all the toilet paper were chewed up. Remember, if you have toilet paper or toilet tabs, make sure it's in a 5-gallon Gamma Seal bucket so the rodents don't get in there. And
At least some sort of, you could even put it in one of those Tupperware ones, but just make it so it's sealable.
right. And then Michael says coffee, tea, salt, and sugar.
Yeah, he's getting on a roll.
Right. Salt and sugar does not deteriorate. They'll harden because the moisture in the air will pack it down. A lot of people on sugar will get, like in Mexico, cone sugar, which is a raw sugar packed down tightly into cones. And you use a sugar rasp to shave off how much sugar you need. And that's one way you could store sugar with the sugar cones. And another thing for salt, same thing with salt. You just take an ice pick. Wait. Getting old. In the old days, salt came in a block and you had to.
And you just kind of chipped away at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Irina, she's saying that she used a Japanese brand. It was only 2 months past due and it almost shut her liver down.
Right. Yeah. It's Jameson. It's not Japanese. Jameson, as she said, brand. And Jameson, that's true. After 2 months, certain vitamins will cause lethal effects on the human body because it gets more toxic or lose potency either way. So you have to be careful on your vitamins. Coffee, if you're going to get coffee, do not get roasted. You want the green beans that last longer. Green beans will last up to 5 years. Roasted coffee, about a year to 2.5 years. Do not do like Hubble's cat. This coffee was vacuum packed in Folger. I can't taste anything. Remember that video?
I remember that video.
Yeah, because coffee will lose its consistency of flavor of coffee. Like I was reading the Civil War War diaries of the Confederate soldier. Yeah, it's true, Irene. Confederate soldiers, when they're trying to find substitute for coffee, they will hold truces, and the North and South would trade coffee beans. If they have corn, they'll trade fresh corn to the Union soldiers, and the Union soldiers will divvy out. I have a small bag of coffee beans. Can I get 2 bushels of corn?
Yeah.
And it went back and forth. Coffee beans are worth money, but it has to be green to store it properly. You can store up green beans up to 10 years, roasted only from a year to 2 years, roughly. Then it loses its consistency. It doesn't taste like coffee. It's like black dirt, Hubble's cat coffee. And you don't want to hear all the weird substitutes I heard from the Confederates. Yeah, the roasted rye and sweet potato coffee was delicious. Oh,
Because he's vegan.
right. Because you don't get the coffee, it's just brown muck. But the sweet potato coffee, what they found out was it's more of a soup than a coffee because you're grinding up roasted, darkened sweet potatoes. So basically, you're drinking a hot soup mix.
How about solar shower?
Yeah, for
That
hot
means,
water.
yep.
Those are great. But remember, plastic does deteriorate. Solar showers, if you get the good heavy
It would
millimeter
have to
one,
be the good mill
right, the heavy
thickness.
thickness, the black ones like I have in the box that I showed in one of my videos, Will, those are great. If you want to wash dishes, you put up the solar shower bag and you have hot water to wash your camp dishes. You have hot water to wash yourself. You have to be careful when you have, yeah, true. But if you roast it and make a cup of coffee of it, it's a third of the amount of sugar, except for two things. It's burnt black. And if you ever tasted sweet potato roasted coffee,
You'd never want to do it again.
no, because I did it and they say it's vegan. I know why vegan dies early. They drank this stuff. Regular coffee has an aftertaste that I'm used to. Never again. Maybe in a soup, but not roasted. It's like, ooh. Oh, and a bad side effect of rye and sweet potato and acorn coffee. You'll be going to the bathroom a lot.
Hey, Gray Man.
Hi, Gray Man. I keep telling people, you ever heard of the Missouri two-step? After drinking several cups of rye and sweet potato coffee, everybody do the Missouri two-step. Then you see a whole company of Confederate soldiers running into the woods and bushes. It gives you instant diarrhea. That's the bad thing about this. I drank 4 cups of sweet potato coffee and rye. I have to go because it's a sweet potato are natural laxatives. So you drink 4 or 5 hot cups of fake coffee. And why is he in the bushes screaming his head off? Because it's shooting everything out. I'm not constipated anymore. Union soldiers were constipated because one of their barter items was salted beef. And one of the descriptions, I have it from Unconventional Foods That People Ate During the Civil War. They were freaking out because if you ate salted beef, there's so much salt in it. It's green. It's pliable. Like I read
Very much so, Gray Man.
true. It was the Missouri two-step. That's always a fun thing.
No sweet tea or nothing for me either, dude. It makes everything come out pretty blah.
No, it just and remember you're short on toilet paper. You don't want to be like
You don't
so. Like
want to be left hanging out to dry.
right. So I tell a lot of people if you do store coffee, make sure it's the green beans roasted yourself. You have a better consistency.
Hi,
The roast
Vanessa.
powder and roast the grounds and the roasted beans only have like a 1 to 2 year shelf life. Depend how hot it is. You do not want to do like, yeah, that's a great cup of Folgers that's been in storage for 5 years. I can't taste nothing. Remember that video, Will? Even vacuum pat, it will lose its consistency. What's next on the list?
They have clothing.
Ugh.
Clothing can be used as a good bartering material, only if it's all wore out, so that it can be reused as patches and stuff like
Right, or charcoal. Remember, folks, if you read the book by Modern Survivalist by Fernando, he has a Spanish channel too, but my Spanish is bad and it's survivalistic, something in Spanish. On clothing, you have to be careful. Socks is the biggest thing on the clothing list. Next is pants. Socks and pants are the two big things. Finally, shirts. Okay. Long sleeve shirts, durable working shirts. Now, people are asking, how about underwear and t-shirts? Underwear, you can wear a diaper. Okay. People did it in the past. People could do it now. Uh, T-shirts was a recent invention. It used to be long johns with the sleeves cut off. That's how t-shirts became. Remember the long underwear, Will?
Yep, the one pieces. Yep.
Yeah. They would just trim off the sleeves and the bottom, like, hey, underpants and a t-shirt on top.
Yep.
But like I said, folks, clothing, you got to remember socks first, pants next, and for people in clothing climates, it's socks and gloves. Remember, Will?
Yep.
Because it gets cold and you're working in the snow, you want something to cover your digits. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Also, it makes good for char cloth
Or wiping your butt, either way.
or wiping your butt. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Irene says, has a bunch of bags of tons of missing socks. You just want
Or
buy.
for fire starters.
Yep. You just don't make when you buy socks, make one brand. So if you have a missing sock, I have another pen. Then you have nothing. They're not missing.
Marlon Brando.
Yep. Also,
Right.
leave it to Beaver. But on clothing, go ahead.
What do you guys think about the spices? Which spices do you think should be barterable?
All spices are barterable. The problem is consistency and before they expire. Because, like drugs, if you have cinnamon, cinnamon is based on an oil. If it's cinnamon and like olive oil, that lasts forever. But cinnamon as a powder, you only have a shelf life of less than 5 years from manufacture to usage because consistency will lose over time. And you'll look like, what am I eating? It doesn't taste like nothing. Another Hubble's cat moment. This black paper tastes like dirt. It is dirt. Remember, he was putting tons of pepper on stuff.
Yeah.
Why isn't this pepper working? Remember, most spices are oil based. You don't see the oil, but it's inside the spice molecule. So if you lose that oil molecule, your spices is like, eh.
We were talking about MREs, Vanessa.
Yeah, earlier. And yes, you could do a sponge on a stick, like the Romans.
What do they call that thing? I can't remember what it's called now. There's a name for it.
Right, it's in Latin, but I won't want to mention it. Salt is always first on spice list because salt does not deteriorate, and people used to pay people. That's where we get the word salary. That's salt money.
Honey's a good barter item, also.
Right, honey,
because it hardly ever goes bad. It's got like
right.
a 100-year shelf life.
Yeah, it does. Only problem is it does deteriorate slowly. It loses moisture. All you have to do is reheat the honey, add a little water, and you got honey again. That's all you have to do, folks. Because they found like 1,000-year-old honey in the Egyptian tombs, and they added water and heated up. It was honey again. All what happened was it became honey chunks, solidified honey. No, same thing with salt. They find a lot of salt in Egyptian tombs. All they had to do is grind up the salt again into a powder. Yes, Irene, that's the problem being the historian of the bunch. But like I said, if you're doing spices, do not buy it in bulk. buy in small containers for two reasons. It may go expired quickly than before. Honey and salt are safe because they last for 100 years plus. But other spices like pepper, because me and Will watched the pepper of Hubble's cat pounding. This doesn't taste like nothing. Remember that one?
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
put too much damn pepper on it.
right. But you don't have the flavor of pepper. All you're doing is dusting with dirt because it
Yeah,
lost its potency. But folks, if you do have spices like me and Will talked this earlier, you could get these little bottles for $1 at the what you call it,
dollar store, Dollar
dollar store.
General.
Yep, you get like real small. Yes, I'll sell you this small bottle of curry, and you give me 6 cases of booze, and here's another one of cinnamon or garlic powder.
Yep.
If you don't know how to make garlic powder, then come to Uncle Al and I'll trade you a little vial like this of garlic powder. Because spices will be king again.
Spices will be everything. Yep.
Right. And on pepper, do not get ground pepper. Get peppercorns. They
You notice
last
I
longer.
waited till the end to mention it, didn't you?
Yep. And then you get vials of peppercorns or vials of mint oil or dried mint or bay leaf. And you could say, I have a fortune in a little tin like this.
I'll still be here. I just got to zip out for a second.
No problem. Like I said, folks, a lot easier and easy to do. Yes, true, and dear. Peppercorns last longer than ground. Ground loses its oils over periods of time. So I tell people peppercorn, nutmeg is another one. Nutmeg comes in nutmeg nuts that you have a little grinder and you make nutmeg powder. That's the best one for cooking. If you get ground nutmeg, True.
There's another one. There's heirloom too, and I'm not talking about giving it away. I'm saying
Are we
that
talking about seeds or the plant?
either one.
Right. If you're going to trade heirloom seeds or plants, make sure it's a good thing to do. It spreads it out more with people. It's a good commodity to trade for resources. Do not store or trade hybrids because I keep telling people they're only good for one shot. And next year you get a bunch of mules. And people are looking at me, what do you mean mules? They're sterile plants. They don't produce food or fruit.
That's what I was getting to on it. Is if you're going to do it, make sure that you trade it off so you don't get any heirlooms back. That way you're holding on to the power.
Right. Gray Man makes a good point on hot sauce. Hot sauce has a long shelf life. It may discolor and change, but like Tabasco sauce, old Tabasco sauce will stay good for 15 years and still have the heat consistency because it's both oil and powder of the pepper that made into a sauce. You have to be careful on varieties of certain tomatoes because heirlooms have different tastes. And also, it means your ground is, is picking up what your ground has. Because I tell people, if your tomato tastes like shit, there's something wrong with your dirt. Most tomatoes are sweet, vibrant, but if it tastes like crud, that means you have either deficiency or overloading in the dirt. To answer Irene's question.
It would be in the dirt. I would be my guess also.
Right. I would correct the dirt.
A deficiency, yep.
Yeah. I would probably use calcium carbonate or calcium sulfide or Epsom salts to correct the balance. Tomatoes should not taste like wood, taste like poo. It's supposed to be a sweet, crisp bite. Am I right, Will?
Yep.
That's a ground deficiency. What's next on our list?
All right. The last one I have is lodging.
Okay, folks, you have to be careful on lodging. Lodging is a good barter item. Like right now, everybody's making for B&B, bread and breakfast. If you want to barter money for somebody staying over your house overnight, that's great. Um, what's before the Red Dragon and stuff? People used to rent out online their rooms or houses so people could spend like a weekend or on a business trip. They have a furnished house and everything. I forgot what they call that. I had a brain fart. Sorry, Will.
I can't think of it. It's bed and breakfast, I'm sure.
Right, it's B&B, but there's another word for it. If anybody in the chat remembers the name of it, you go online and you rent out an apartment or a house for the weekend. It was a big thing before the Red Dragon stuff.
I don't remember. I can't remember. It's right there on the end of my tongue. Airbnb.
Yeah, I can't think of it either.
We were thinking of B&B also, Irene.
Yeah, Irene.
Timeshare.
Right.
Timeshare?
I think it's another one, but that's more like for the summer, you trade your house for another person's house. But bartering for lodging is time memorial. People used to rent out rooms. Remember that? Well, they used to rent out rooms
The
for
lodging would only, gotta be very careful when you're doing the lodgings.
Right. You don't want to rent out like this. The border killed everybody in the house with an
Barn cleaner. There you go. I'll go with that. But you gotta be very careful because they can give you false information.
Right. And you
very
find out
easily.
Like Bonnie and Clyde, yeah, we spent a nice B&B at this location. Find out they're a gang of killers and the police came by and your house is being shot up by police and Bonnie and Clyde. Ew. So please be careful when you make rooms for borderers or whatchamacallit, for people that yes to live with, because it's a very profitable and they still do it. AB and Air. What Gray Man says.
Airbnb.
Right. That's the one I was thinking of. Yeah, getting old.
Yeah, Vanessa came up with that also.
Yeah.
I think, or Irene.
I think it was Irene.
But just be careful about it. It's an easy one to get trapped.
Right. And it does cause homelessness.
Especially with us being preppers and whatnot. You can have all that stuff inside your residence. And just really easy for you to get trapped.
Right. Like I said, folks, Airbnb creates sometimes homelessness in the area because instead of having a small room at a small price, they'll charge like, well, we can't afford a room. They're charging for the Airbnb $1,000 a weekend, which is good for us with a spare room. That's money. But if you're a homeless person, I can only afford $2.50 for a room and a bed at night. Sorry, bub. All the flop houses are gone. We're going out Airbnb. Isn't that true, Will?
Yep. Okay, let's close it out with walkie-talkies. Walkie-talkies, in my opinion, would not be a good barter tool.
Nope. The trouble with walkie-talkies is it's a one-purpose item.
You could have one, but not the other. You would have, and then that one person would only have the air frequency of the other walkie-talkie.
Right.
If I remember right, there's only each walkie-talkie has one. There's a set, and they both have air frequency to each other. So if you're
Unless
going to barter one, you got to barter both.
right.
Then what are you going to do for
Or if you get like,
communication?
or if you get like you see on Amazon the 4-pack, but that's multiple channels, and you seen the price on those things?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not cheap, and plus you have to recharge them. Some of them don't take regular batteries; they take the different series
and you got to
batteries.
have a license
True,
to be able to use parts of it.
right. If it's a multi-frequency one, you have to have FCC license for that because they have to ban everybody else, or you have stray messages like, "And can you pick me up?" And then it says, "Yes, sex all the time." I'm like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah, you pick up wrong frequency. Or this is ambulance 32, and you hear sex all the time. Get off the frequency now. Am I right?
yeah.
And also, if you're doing walkie talkies, they do need repeaters. Like, unlike phones, we have towers. Walkie talkies only like in a 5-mile area, and then you need a repeater unit to broadcast it further.
And my buddy does it, and he had to climb a tree to get his repeater all the way at the top of it. And I'll be dang if I'm going to crawl up to the top of a tree just
Yep.
to put an antenna up there.
And we're at the top of the hour, Will. Anybody
Yep.
has any other questions or anything coming up recent? I'm going to be busy this weekend after this.
Saturday, we're going to talk about the channel again, you guys. It's going to be another tutorial. We're going to talk about how it should be set up to get the most people to come check you out.
Right. You're going to include the ghost channel. Remember what happened
Oh,
to Alaskan Prepper and the other channel? Somebody
yep.
copied them and was stealing money.
Yes, there's a lot of that going around. Anything that's coming up, I'll also have some information that I learned this week on some insider stuff. So you'll want to come and hear that.
Right. And Will's going to cover the note for a lot of people. YouTube is changing the rules again. You should have got this notice as a creator. Will got it. I got it. Remember that letter?
Yeah, that's
And
part of the news I have, but I have some other insider news that just came out a couple of days ago. I'll be sharing that with you guys on Saturday.
right. So I'll catch you later, folks. And that's top of the hour, Will.
Top of the hour. I want to thank you guys for coming by, and I'll see you guys on Saturday at 7 p.m. See you then.